Hello everybody and welcome back to Quest 64. Last video we got the water jewel, and after talking to Epona and Colleen and Leela and Shannon and all of these quote-unquote helpful characters, we really don't have a lot of direction on where it is that we're actually supposed to go. So that is what we're going to be doing, finding out where to go. However, we're also going to be doing a bit of really weird backtracking. Now, there is no possible way that I would ever know this without a guide, and I have a guide of all the spirits pulled up so I can collect them all. But there's a spirit you can get in Dondarin that is apparently only accessible after you defeat Nepti and not before, and I have no idea who figured this out. It was probably in, like a Nintendo Power or something like that back in the day. But luckily I have people on the internet to help me figure this out. Of course I'm going to grab more wings. Don't think I'll need them, but I will grab some. I think I also mentioned that we're never coming back to Dondarin, and I didn't think that we were going to, but we're just gonna pick up a single spirit and then be on our way. I also didn't talk to Princess Flora after we came back from the forest, so maybe we'll talk to her since it's kind of on the way. Either way, we're gonna go to the castle, and we're basically going to go to where Flora's room is, but not go directly to Flora's room, if that makes any sense. So take the left staircase, go all the way up the stairs through the big doors, and then of course her room is in the same hallway, over on the very end. So Flora's room is behind the big doors, and then the room we're supposed to be going into is over here. And I guess for old time's sake, let's just go talk to Flora, although we solved their problems ages ago. I really didn't think you could do it, but now you have our undying gratitude. Are you sure you're just a magician's apprentice? Your powers must be beyond compare. I'm starting to think that, because apparently everybody else thinks so too. Either way, the door we want to go through is through here, and this is going to take us to a library, which seemingly has absolutely nothing, but if you walk up to the bookcase that faces the wall, it opens into a secret passage. Like I said, no fathomable way in my mind how anybody would be able to just figure that out on their own. There's a spirit in here. And like I said, I do believe that's only accessible after you defeat Nepti, but not before, and that's why I'm here now. I didn't miss it. And then if you come all the way around, it loops back to the secret treasure room that was behind the king. And that's it. That's all we came for. A single spirit. So that's kind of a odd little thing. But I can't turn down spirits, because I really like them. They make me feel more powerful. So goodbye once again to the city of Dondarin. It was kind of nice to go back to where our adventure started. But we are now going to return to Larpool. Of course, I'm going to get more wings while I'm here too. And then we're going to be taking the boat, and the boat is going to take us to our new area. And I guess you can probably put 2 and 2 together, although it's been such a long time since we came here that I think most people have forgotten. We came to Larpool, but he couldn't take us all the way here because the wind wasn't blowing properly. And he's not able to take you other places because the wind isn't blowing properly, although he doesn't really mention that. So as soon as you get the wind problem all fixed up, then the boat will work as it should. So that's where we're gonna go. And if I can get into an enemy encounter with a bunch of enemies surrounding me at once, I can probably show off the true destructive power of Avalanche, because I know I made it seem really awesome, and then it, I used it and it didn't really seem to do a whole lot, but I'll probably be using Avalanche as my kind of scapegoat spell when I really just don't feel like fighting enemies, but I do want to grind. I'll probably just spam the hell out of Avalanche just to get the job done a little bit quicker. But I don't want to be going through the entire game using it because, like I said, it just destroys everything and it really takes away from a lot of the fun of the game. Or at least in my opinion it does. I might be able to just try it on this little group of enemies too. You can see there, 105 damage with 1 rock. Obviously these are weaker enemies. And I do believe the more enemies that there are, the more rocks that there are, but someone can correct me on that. And the reason I think that is just because the rocks kind of, sort of, seem to home in on the enemy, and then a few of them are just random. We've collected everything here that we need, so now, off we go once again. So if we talk to this guy, you're just in time. I was just about to haul anchor. The wind feels just right. We'll be in Limelin in no time. Come on aboard. Alright, thank you. Alright, so there's also another glitchy type spirit in this area. If you notice that when we come over to these boxes, there is nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is no spirit in visible sight. So we'll be going back to that later. If you go out and come back in and you talk to the guy again, he'll tell you that we're going to Dondrin. So this boat actually has a couple of different routes. Right now we are in the area that's going to take us to Limelin. But, interestingly enough, if you go back into the cabin and you examine the boxes, there's a spirit. So I'm not sure if that's glitchy or not, but you can only get that spirit to appear after you've landed in Limelin on the way to Dondrin. And unfortunately, every single time we enter the cabin, we have to travel. So we're gonna have to basically open doors and close doors. We're not playing Quest 64 anymore, we're playing, you know, like Door Simulator. Now we're back in Larpool, and then, one more time, now we're back to where Limelin is. So you can go from Dondrin to Larpool, from Larpool to Limelin, and from Limelin to Dondrin. If you didn't catch that. Enough of that boat tomfoolery though. Here we are. Whole new area, although it doesn't look like much has changed. There's going to be some new monsters for us to defeat, and I think they're going to be quite difficult. So you can rest in the house if you want to. Well, well, taking a trip, are you? Young fellow, do you happen to know another magician? He stayed here some time ago. He looked a lot like you. You'd better rest here. The road from here on will be tough going. Ah, so this guy seems to have interacted with our father, so that must mean that we are at least going the right way. Yeah, our father. Did you guys forget about him? Because I sure did. Again, not a lot of the story in regards to your father. We've heard a lot about the L-Tale book, especially from Epona. That's kind of been hammered into us since day one. But we haven't really heard a lot from our father since the monastery, honestly. So like I said, new enemies in this area, and they're going to be quite tough. I do believe there are 3 new enemies, and then there's a couple of recycled ones. So these cry shells are new enemies. We're going to be running into fishmen as another new one, and caterpillars as our 3rd new enemy. And then we're also going to be running into scarecrows, wyverns, and blood gels, which of course we all saw in Hazard Cave. So obviously the blood gels and the scarecrows aren't going to be overly devastating, and it's going to be interesting to see how we do against the wyvern, because when we went through Hazard Cave, I was absolutely terrified of him. And I mean, he was very tough. We'll have to prepare ourselves for that. As you can see, these enemies are very tough. I have been slacking a little bit on the grinding, so I'm going to use this opportunity to do a lot of grinding, I hope. This is a very, very straightforward path as well. It's not terribly long, which is really nice, and there's only 1 spirit to collect. aside from getting into an encounter every 3.5 seconds, you shouldn't have too much of a long trek on your way towards Limelin. And Limelin's a beautiful city. It's probably one of the biggest and grandest, nicest cities in this entire game. I mean, I like Liverpool, but it's got a really rustic kind of charm in comparison to Limelin, which is saying a lot because in comparison to a lot of cities we've seen in the game so far, Liverpool was really quite grand in my opinion. Of course, these turtles are using water. I didn't point that out, but I figured it was probably pretty obvious. They're using Ice Wall, and that attack can actually freeze you in place if it hits you. So we're going to be traveling mostly east along this path. And there's one section where it diverges to the south, and that will be where you should be able to find your spirits. Now, there are a lot of enemies here. This could be dangerous. And I'll start cutting out battles again soon. It's just, you know, new area. Not a whole lot I'm going to be doing in this video. So we'll just take on a few of these guys and see what we can do. You can see there with 4 enemies, Avalanche did quite a bit of damage. A lot more than it does with 2 or a single target, so I'll probably just keep using that. I do believe the fishmen are also water. Of course, the scarecrows are using wind. The blood gels, I forget what they use. Honestly, it's been a while. And the wyverns use fire. So from here, I would say it's up to you what you want to level up. I think I'm going to keep leveling up water and rock. I don't know that there's any point in leveling up water anymore. I might have to read ahead and see if that's going to benefit me. I'm sure that healing level 2 is going to be much to my satisfaction for the time being. I don't think I'll really need to be healing, you know, 50 or 60 HP at a time. I just don't have that much HP right now, so I'll probably stick on the attack type spells. And of course, this scenery is all very, very, very similar to what we've been seeing before, so it's not like there's anything special. And if you are getting lost, of course, just keep an eye on your compass. Same old stuff. Unfortunately, scarecrows are weak. I like that. I like feeling like I'm powerful when I come to a new area because these enemies are all old. They really do recycle things in a really kind of strange way, though. Like, they put the enemies from Call Hazard Cave in the end of Blue Cave, and then they're also putting them here, but you don't see any of the enemies from Donovan Flats, for example, that have been recycled. And I guess Donovan Flats came, you know, quite a bit before Call Hazard Cave, so maybe they're a little bit weaker, but it just seems that there's some enemies that are really overly used, and then some that aren't. So our spirit is going to be over here, just before I forget to grab it. And of course, gotta wait for the slow-moving turtle. I'm just gonna run away for now. So you can see that on my compass I was facing to the south, and there's a big wall, and that's kind of what I meant. You want to look out for your compass turning south, and you get this big wall, but the spirit can be kind of hard to see because it's behind you, really. So that one's pretty easy to miss. I'm glad I was able to pick that one up. If I can pick it up, that would be great. Thank you. And I'll just have to find a good stopping point now, because as far as collection goes, I've collected everything. It was just that one element. And we're only missing out on the one new enemy, the caterpillar. So really, I think we've done pretty good. There's no items to collect or anything either. It's a plain, you know, just like Donovan Flats was. There's just not a whole lot going on. This place has a lot more twists and turns than that place did, though. That was very flat. Oh, and then speaking of caterpillar, here they are. These are definitely new enemies. I thought maybe we would have saw these guys earlier, but we definitely haven't, so that's pretty nice. And I don't think that they're anything that's too much to worry about. I don't think they're of too much concern. Of course, appearing in a big group like that can be kind of annoying. But if you do have a nice spell like Wind Cutter level 3, or you've got Large Cutter, or you've got Avalanche or something, then that should really help you along. It looks like they use fire attacks as well. They use the light arrow attack at a distance, and then they're using this really devastating fire attack at close range, so probably best to stay away from them, but I was close enough just to beat them down with my staff. And I guess here is a pretty good place to stop. It's a pretty distinctive looking area. It's all downhill from here, and we really shouldn't have too much longer until we get to Limelin. And then that's when the real fun begins, because it's a huge city and there's going to be a lot for us to do, so that's going to be some pretty exciting stuff. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I'll see you next time.